In episode 4, the police bring Hubert Pellegrini in for questioning, but he's more interested with threatening them with their jobs than actually answering their questions. He's got friends in high places, so he's not really willing to cooperate. They question him about the insurance claim against the necklace and then him trying to sell it, but he passes that off as, yeah, that's not really unusual. Plus, I gave the insurance money back. Sophia then asks him, do you know this man? And hands him a picture of Hassan, and he says, of course I do. It's Hassan Diop. He's the guy who stole the necklace a few weeks back, just like his father did back in the day. And Hassan Diop is a name that the police weren't familiar with. This is the first time they actually get Hassan's real name. Up until this, they thought his name was Paul Cernine. They then pull out a picture of Leonard and ask Pellegrini, do you know who he is? And Pellegrini is very reluctant to answer that question. He plays it off like he's thinking, he's not sure. And the reason they're asking him is because Leonard was arrested on a train with a gun. The gun was purchased under a fake name with an address in Paris, an address that is owned by Hubert Pellegrini. Pellegrini passes it off, though, that he must be a tenant. He doesn't know the everyday goings-on with his tenants. And the police captain asks him, well, he used a fake name. Do you have any idea why he would do that? Pellegrini says, why don't you go ask him? They are planning on doing that. And the reason being is they're pretty sure that Leonard was the one who tried to kidnap Raoul back in Normandy. They continue to pester Pellegrini on who Leonard is, what's his real name, but that's when Pellegrini gets that phone call from his powerful friend who instructs the police department to let Pellegrini go, and they don't have a choice. Yusef's pissed off about that because it feels like it's an abuse of power, but the police captain's okay with it for the time being because at least they got something out of it. They got Hassan's name. And Hassan has started his day off by scamming a guy who seems to be walking to work. As the guy's walking, somebody bumps into him and then steals his briefcase. Hassan, pretending to be a bystander, runs after the guy, grabbing the briefcase and returning it. But when he returns it to the guy tells Hassan, thanks so much, man, have a nice day. And Hassan responds, have a nice day, Lucas. And then he walks off, which is very confusing to the guy. He then goes and meets with Juliet, who is freaking out a little bit. She's wondering what the hell did she just do? She knows her father's going to try to figure out who tipped off the police. And Hassan reminds her, you didn't talk to the police. Your mother did. And the police officer that your mother spoke to is a good guy. He won't talk. Don't worry. Juliet starts talking about how she wants to cancel the concert they're having for their foundation because this could be a really negative look with her father being arrested. But Hassan says, no, you can't. If you cancel, that's going to look even more suspicious. Plus, this concert's going to raise a lot of money for kids who need it. Don't abandon the kids, the foundation, their future. Don't abandon that just because of this. If you abandon this concert, your father ends up winning. He continues to try to press Juliet on not canceling the concert, but then he gets a phone call from Ben. He takes it thinking it's an emergency, but it's not. Ben just wants to get rid of the dog. Every time he even thinks Pellegrini, the dog barks. The dog is driving him nuts. Hassan tells Ben, okay, man, I'll take the dog back. Just meet me at my place with him. So Ben packs up the dog and heads to Hassan's place, which is an issue. Because after being arrested, Pellegrini is out for blood. He gets his two goons together, Leonard and Pasquale. And Pasquale has done a little digging and called up the cemetery where Fabian is buried and offered to pay for the funeral, pretending to be a relative. But he was informed that the funeral was already paid for. And that was pretty interesting to him because she didn't have any friends and her dog didn't pay for it. He wanted the person's name, saying that he wanted to just thank the person. And the name they gave him was BTA Farrell. And BTA Farrell is run by Benjamin Farrell. The fact that Ben specializes in gemstones and the kind of shop he runs, they figure that this has got to be Diop's accomplice. It makes perfect sense. So if Ben really knows Diop, the plan is to put him under surveillance and tail him. Pellegrini instructs Leonard to be the one to tail him. But as Leonard leaves to go find Ben, Pellegrini pulls Pascal aside and tells him that Leonard has a lot to atone for, and instructs him that as Leonard is tailing Ben, Pascal is to tail Leonard. And when Leonard finally gets into Hassan's house, to kill Leonard. And the plan goes just as expected. Ben leaves his shop with the dog in tow, unknowingly being tailed by Leonard, and he leads Leonard right to Hassan's place. Hassan takes the dog from Ben, says goodbye, puts on an album, and then starts making dinner. He doesn't even notice that Leonard has snuck into his house. And he definitely doesn't notice when Pascal sneaks up from behind Leonard and kills him. As Pascal flees Hassan's place, he calls the police and tells them that he just heard a fight going down at the address and they should send somebody over. And a short time after that, when Hassan turns around, the dog isn't there because the dog is sniffing Leonard's dead body, and now Hassan knows, yeah, I got an issue. He gets out of his place just in the nick of time, just before the police show up. But now Hassan Diop is the most wanted man in Paris. He's wanted for murder and he's wanted for stealing the necklace. This news is shocking for a few people. Mainly his family, Claire and Raoul, Juliet, who is floored, but also for Yusef. Sophia can tell that something's bothering Yusef, and he says, this doesn't make sense. I thought Hassan Diop was Lupin. Lupin is the gentleman burglar. He doesn't kill people. But Sophia looks at him and says, well, maybe in the books, Gadira, but in the real world, Diop is a killer. The police have Hassan's picture plastered all over Paris, and they start going over his apartment looking for clues on where he might be. They also recognize Leonard as the guy that they were supposed to question. But as Sophia and the police captain are going over Leonard's body, Dumont pulls the captain aside and tells him that he wants only him and the police captain going over the evidence. He tells him it's a sensitive case, and only them two will have access to it. But Pellegrini's men weren't going after just Hassan. Pascal is also going after Ben, who got a tip from Hassan that they were probably coming after him too. So Ben flees. The whole time, though, he's on the phone with Hassan as Hassan gives him directions. And Ben can tell that he's being followed by somebody. Hassan gives Ben directions to a bus stop because he knows the guy won't kill him in broad daylight. He then instructs Ben to hop on the bus, but just as it's about to leave, to hop off of it. This works, actually. He loses his tail, and that's when Hassan meets up with him. The two men end up going to a sort of safe house they have. Really, it's just a storage facility. And it's a good thing that Hassan tipped off Ben, because Pellegrini texts Dumont that Ben is Hassan's accomplice. He pulls the police captain aside and asks, is the evidence secure? And the police captain assures him that it is. He then gives him the post-it note with Ben's address for the flea market shop and tells him, we're pretty sure this guy is working with Hassan. Go check it out. So the police captain grabs Sophia but tells Youssef, you stay here. The police go over to Ben's store and start going through everything, trying to find a hint of where they might have gone. And then Sophia finds it. It's a little slip of paper that Ben forgot to get rid of with an address to the storage facility. So the police head over there. But Ben and Hassan are just chilling. Ben thinks they need to get out of Paris, but Hassan says, if I leave Paris, that's going to admit I'm guilty, and I'm not. I need to clear my name. One way he figures he can do that is by writing a cryptid message in the comments section of an article all about him. Ben thinks it's nuts, but Hassan hopes that Youssef sees it and deciphers it. Hassan reassures Ben, though, that they didn't do what they did for nothing. His plan at the concert will prove that he's innocent. But then all of a sudden, they hear clamoring outside, and they know that it's the police. They know they need to get the hell out of there. Luckily for them, they've thought of this. They have a secret exit. The exit goes to the catacombs. And right before they leave, they grab a secret map that they got when they were kids and visited the catacombs. A map of all the tunnels that the public doesn't have access to. So they grab that map and they head down, hoping that they could evade the police. Eventually, the police do end up finding the storage unit, opening it up, and finding the trap door. The police end up running into the catacombs looking for Hassan, but all they find is a guide tour. They tell the guide, you need to shut down all entrances and exits to the catacombs. But that's not even going to matter. With that map that they have, Hassan and Ben are able to take another tunnel that's not even known about and take another exit that leads them into the middle of a park. They knew about this because they did it when they were kids. They split up, but then agree to meet up that night, and as they're looking at the venue of the concert of the Foundation, Hassan knows that within 24 hours, he'll be innocent. But the good thing for Hassan is Youssef had nothing to do, and he did pick up on that message. He ended up deciphering it, where the message was Jewish lamp. Youssef realized that what Hassan was referring to was the menorah that was taken from his place and put into evidence. And even though no one else is supposed to go into evidence other than the police captain and Dumont, Youssef ends up sneaking in there, finding it, and busting open one of the candles to find a USB drive. When he plugs it in, it's all the information on his father, on his case, and how Dumont is actually working with Pellegrini. But at the exact time that Youssef is finding out that his police commissioner is dirty, the police commissioner heads over to meet with Pellegrini. Dumont walks in with Pellegrini, Pascal, and Philip in a room together, and he tells them that they've collected Hassan's items. All they need to do now is destroy it, anything that could link back to them. Dumont turns to Pellegrini and says, you still need to be careful, though, because my men are asking a lot of questions. They're pretty close to realizing what's actually going on here. Pellegrini tells him, relax. The only thing you need to do is attend the concert. And then, within 24 hours, you're going to be almost as rich as I am. Enjoy this, because the money is on its way, and it's the beginning of a new life. Thank you so much for checking out this recap. Please consider subscribing to the channel. Hit thumbs up if you liked it. Smash that thumbs down button if you thought this sucked. Make sure to be nice in the comment section. If you don't see the next video up in the end screen there, I'll get it up in a few days, not to worry. And I have merchandise, so go buy a mug or something. It's never too early to think about Christmas gifts, folks. Once again, thank you for checking out this recap.